I don't know. And where are the she's somewhere else, but she had to stay. She's in the travel. She's not one of the trips.
Okay, hello everyone.
I know it is. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Hi Darren, hi Sudha. So nice to see everyone at Unity Pavilion. How great. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. Sudha. Oh, you're muted. Let's oh no.
The mute will be there.
I'm not-
Go ahead.
No, that's on. You want me to say something?
He can't hear you.
Oh, yeah,
It's open.
yeah, it's okay, all good.
It's green at the bottom.
Mhm.
He knows the drill.
Jules has well trained me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to let everyone know who's joining us online that we also have the viewing at Unity Pavilion. So Sudha is joining us from there. Sudha runs Unity Pavilion, and she's going to speak, manages, coordinates. Okay.
So thank you. I don't run the Unity Pavilion. I'm just a volunteer there. I want to set the record right. But yes, thank you for this opportunity for bringing us all together for one more evening, and we look forward to this. So we do have quite a few Aurovillians who have come here graciously to be part of this event, and we look forward to knowing more about Matrimandir, which is the soul for us. So thank you. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sudha. How wonderful to see, to be connected both globally, virtually, and with Auroville in person. So I'm Yana, and I do communications for AVI USA. So I'm just going to be facilitating this Zoom meeting, and we're going to have Serena and B joining us shortly. I mean, they're there, but I just want to thank everyone for showing up for this great event. We had such a wonderful response. Oh, we have more people coming in. So we had a great response. Everyone's very excited about viewing these episodes of the wonderful series that Serena created, the Matrimandir and I. And I just want to thank Marco for showing up last minute, and Jules. Marco's running the live stream at Unity Pavilion, and Jules is doing the sound, and Sudha made it all available so we can be a little bit more connected with what's going on in Auroville. A few words about AVI USA, for those of us who don't know as much about AVI USA. We are a US-based nonprofit that supports Auroville by connecting Auroville projects with donors and supporters around the world. And our initiatives with our presentations go under the umbrella of Auroville Live. And Auroville Live is, it's just our attempt, our desire to bring together virtually people from around the globe and connect them to what's going on in Auroville. Because in coming to Auroville myself in 2018, it's very hard to really have a sense of what's going on in Auroville. And so we are really trying to open up and show the best that Auroville has to offer around the world. So that's our Auroville Live initiative and program. And we do need sponsorship for Auroville Live, and the link to donate is in our chat. In order to make programs like this available to people around the world, and to bring Auroville to to those who may be interested. A couple of other initiatives that AVI USA is working on are BEAM, the fundraising support team, and Flourish with Helen, who I see there, I think. Hi, Helen. And we're, besides bringing awareness to Auroville, we're also very involved in trying to support Auroville groups and initiatives to grow and to flourish and develop themselves and really show the world how amazing the work that Auroville is doing is. So I'm going to just say a few words about the format of the meeting. I'm going to introduce Serena and B, and they're going to speak a little bit about themselves and about the series, and then we're going to view the 3 clips with a short introduction before each one. And after we screen all 3 clips or episodes, we're going to open it up to questions and answers. So to introduce Serena, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Serena Aurora, whose creative enterprise in Auroville is called Aurora's Eye Films. Serena studied film in London, and she knew as a child that she wanted to be completely immersed and involved in film. So all her training and all her schooling was geared towards being not only a filmmaker, but living and breathing and dreaming film. So in 2012, she started traveling around the world and visiting intentional communities. And in 2013, maybe I shifted the years, she first landed in Auroville. After she then traveled a few more years, and in 2015 joined Auroville as a volunteer with Outreach Media. And after a few months, she knew that she wanted to settle in Auroville permanently. After working with Outreach Media for 4 years, she started her own activity called Aurora's Eye Films. So now I'm going to let Serena talk a little bit about herself and tell us about how the Matrimandir and I series came to be.
So hello everyone. So lovely to see you all. And thank you for that lovely introduction as well. So the Matrimandir and I series actually started with Auroville Live just towards the end of the pandemic, trying to connect people to the Matrimandir. So it was bringing live streaming into Auroville on a high professional quality, but also opening up the Matrimandir gardens to people all over the world who can experience what's going on. So we had a great team in place and we set up all the equipment and everything, but not so many people were viewing it. And honestly, I found it a little bit boring because I like people's stories. And what we are doing is trying to capture an energy and an atmosphere, which is very hard to do in a static shot. So an idea I brought forward to the team was, why don't we focus each month on a different person who shares their own experience and how they relate to the Matrimandir. So the idea of this project is to really bring together all different types of people, from pioneers, from newcomers, volunteers, people who've been here for a long time, a short time, all different types of people, different viewpoints, and try to see how everybody relates to this one amazing building in the center of Auroville. So that is how the series began. And this was, nearly 2 years ago from when we started. We've filmed 17 in total. We have a few more to come out. And today, first of all, we're going to show you B's video. He actually hasn't seen it yet. So this is even a premiere for B as well.
Yes, thank you, Serena.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Serena. So one thing that I just want to introduce B a little bit to everyone. B has been an Auroville pioneer, and he settled in Auroville in the 70s. He's worked in the same way Serena has been immersed in film. B has been immersed in the Matrimandir for most of his adult life. He was working on the Matrimandir construction for the whole run of the construction for 37 years. And
No, not the whole run, no.
Okay. And then he became a guide to visitors to the Matrimandir and Gardens. So you can find him if you're walking around the Matrimandir, especially, I don't know what time your tours are, but it's not unusual to see him surrounded by a big group of people and talking about different elements of the gardens and the Matrimandir itself. He also is involved in innovative and creative upcycling. And I did want to invite everyone to go visit his home, the Trash Mahal, but he said no, it's off limits.
It's not off limits, but we can't take thousands.
Well, so if you want to see an example of innovative upcycled construction, B's house, the Trash Mahal, is really a standout example. And anyway, he also mentioned that there was a Matrimandir 2.0 project, but made out of upcycled materials, but we won't go into that now. So B, so I should let you say a few words about this before we start the clip, and just about yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you for arranging all this, and welcome to all the wonderful people that happen to be here. It's so nice to, after Matrimandir was built, I was so lucky to be able to take people there, talk about it, because a lot of the people who were involved in Matrimandir have gone to heaven, and many of them only worked on it for a short time or were visitors, but there were thousands of people involved in this project. And I don't know if people understand, I mean, one building, 37 years. So it's kind of beyond describing all these experiences. So anyways, Serena has really done something fantastic to get various people involved in it and give their experiences. Mine is only one, but I'm so privileged to have had all that time there. And I mean, it was Savitri that brought me to Auroville, and Matrimandir that kept me there.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, B. That's a beautiful introduction, and it really gives us a sense of the scope of what the Matrimandir really means for Auroville and what it means for individuals. So with that, let us start the episode featuring B. That's a worldwide premiere. That's why we're so excited to be having this Zoom event. And B, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay, so let's get started. Okay. Let me know if the sound is okay and if everything's working.
It's the people who actually did it that are very important. And Roger, he did what he could, everybody did what they could, and together it was able to happen. But there were so many amazing people and dedicated people involved. It could never have happened, you know, without all those people contributing. They were so dedicated, and so many people gave, you know, they gave everything. They gave their money, they gave their life, they gave everything to make Matrimandir happen. I arrived in Auroville shortly after the mother had passed away. It was in 1974 that I came. And the first place I went was Matrimandir. I was so impressed with Matrimandir because it was out of place. It had no relevance to this peanut field on this barren plateau. And I understood why people said it's like something from outer space, and they were calling it a spaceship. Epicus always comes to me when I think of Matrimandir, and the time it took to build that thing, unbelievable. 37 years for one building. Many visitors wanted to work there, and they did, and people stayed for a few months or a few years. So thousands of people were involved in this story, and there were so many stories there. I believed in Mother's strategy that was to build Matrimandir first, because you can't build the city until you build Matrimandir, because the city needs a soul. So the question was, how do you build a soul? And she said, okay, all these people come here, they come from different cultures, how are they going to work together? The only way is to have a common project that is not part of their own thing, like building their own place. So if they're working for the community and they're working together, the Matrimandir, in its complication, will force them to work together, otherwise they won't be able to make it. They won't be able to get it together. So we had a wonderful winter when we had a monsoon, a very intense monsoon. So the whole foundation of Matrimandir filled with water. And then the walls were leaking water for the next 2 or 3 months because the water table was so high. So we were swimming in Matrimandir every day. So we would work, and then you could drop off the scaffolding down into this water. And after a few weeks, that water had become, you know, clear. It was like a nice, cool lake. And that was a good time. The Matrimandir got closed down. We had this problem with the Sri Aurobindo Society, you know, the big dispute, the big battle that happened, and it was law and order, and we had the Section 144, no more than 3 people could be together. So we couldn't go to and they surrounded Matrimandir with these militia policemen who had rifles with bayonets on the end. So to go over and turn off the water tank when it was overflowing, I had to do that. And this guy is chasing me with his bayonet, you know, you get out. I said, no, the tank is overflowing. I'm just turning off the water. So finally he saw what was happening and he didn't stab me with his bayonet. But it was those were very difficult times, and many people thought the work on Matrimandir stopped. But we always went to the workshop and worked on the crane. And actually, we would go up with 3 people, but then later 3 more would come. And eventually they didn't keep a big mass guard there. It kept going down, because this went on for over a year. There was just maybe 6 or 8 policemen, and they sat in one shed and played cards. And they didn't look at anything, they didn't do anything. And so we just did what we needed to do. Lakshminarayan, instead of just chipping all these holes, and he made 3 symbols. Put the Auroville symbol in the middle, the Mother symbol on one side, and Sri Aurobindo symbol on the other side. Perfectly beautiful sculptured symbols. And then we stuck the ramp against it and poured concrete over it. Nobody will ever see those. But every time I step over, I know they're there. The Matrimandir means many things. It depends on which level you go to. but I always see it as the soul of Auroville. I don't see it as a temple. I see it more as cyclotron. It's a particle accelerator. It's an energy center. So energy is concentrated in the Matrimandir in order for anyone, any human being, because we're energetic bodies. So you take your energetic body in there, and so it aligns with that energy. And that energy is so strong that it will affect you. And I understand, intellectually that energy is there because, they say it's located on two ley lines. There's all the sacred geometry there. There is all that intentionality that every person who worked there put in there and tried to make, with their devotion. It's all packed in there. Because without a connection to that energy, we cannot build Auroville. That energy is what is needed to make the city and to hold it together. Because we have to hold together all of humanity. It's human unity is the purpose of Auroville. Not a building, not a city, not a forest, none of that stuff. It is the human unity. And that human unity is embodied there. Because we need the Matrimandir to get through what's happening now. Because now Auroville is also in another crisis. Matrimandir, for me, is a key to that. Because when people line up with that energy, then they can work together, they can build the city. Because that was the point. So the future is that it will be more and more used by Aurovillians, and also I think we have to keep it open to visitors, maybe world known already, I have no idea, but it is something so unique and so powerful, and every person on the planet deserves to experience it if they can.
Well, okay. So I see someone clapping. Thank you that's so great. Yeah. So I want to hear from B first about what do you think, B? What's your reaction seeing the clip for the first time?
Well, I think Serena made a great film. She, not because I'm the star, it's much of my, I rambled around and she put it all together. She made a very nice edit job. We had a conversation here, right here where I'm sitting in this little studio, and she recorded that. And then I just walked around Matrimandir and she made some shots. So her creative effort made the thing into something, I would say it's a great piece of work. I made films also, and she's done a spectacular job, because it's hard to do that. It's hard to take somebody's conversation and match it with images and make it coherent. So I was happy with that. I said a few things I probably might not say again, or maybe I don't know. But people can ask about that. People will have questions. Because there's so much to be said about Matrimandir, and there's so many stories. So when I'm talking about it, I'm coming just from, my own perspective. And other people who have had also incredible experiences working there and living in Auroville have their own. And that's why it's so great. She's done 17 of these already. And there's several more in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great thing. And thanks to AVI USA for, sponsoring and helping to get it together.
Thank you, B. Yeah, it's a wonderful clip. I also just watched the first few minutes when I was preparing it for sharing. So I didn't want to anyway, I wanted to have a fresh eye when I was seeing it, and I really love what you did, both of you. And I love the historical perspective that a lot of us coming to Auroville more recently don't have the perspective of all the conflict and the falling apart and coming back together that's happened over the years, and that's happened specifically around the Matrimandir, and it's very beautiful to see that. And I really love the way you articulate how really the Matrimandir is the one space to align with in moving forward to build everything that needs to be built. And I know Serena also has a very deep connection to the Matrimandir, and that's basically what brought her here. And we'll have you talk about that a little bit more. Or do you want to say a few words before?
So first of all, I want to say it's not just me, it's an amazing team I have that creates these series. So I just want to say just a couple of names who help with this. We have Kardash, who does the sound, and I think I see him there in Unity Pavilion, actually. Yeah, he's giving a big wave. So he does all the audio post-production, which if you can't hear it, there's no point seeing it. So that's a big job that he does. We have Auroville, who does a beautiful cinematography. And he makes everything beautiful. So thank you to him. And we also have Adigi is there also. He's been helping writing up the little summaries for each video and things like that. We also had Marco, who also is in Unity Pavilion, who helped right at the beginning. And finally, Doris, who's no longer with us, but she was such a big help collecting all the archive material. So without that, it's hard to know what to look for in the archives and to relate to people's stories. So yeah, thank you, Doris, too.
Okay, so the next clip that we're going to view is episode. I keep referring to them as clips, but they're episodes. Is an episode featuring Suhasini Iyer, which is an award-winning, internationally recognized architect who's and we're gonna just hear a very different perspective on the Matrimandir and how how it's seen through the eyes of an architect who's constantly trying to envision a perfect placement of spatial elements and a completely different perspective. So I will start the screen share for that and then we're going to have, actually, Serena, would you like to say a few words about just a few words about this episode and what stood out to you, or what was the motivation behind working with Suhasini?
Yeah, sure. So I'm really trying to collect as many different viewpoints as possible. So we just got some history from B, hands-on life experience of building the Matrimandir. And then this one is really the architectural perspective. Which for me, when I was editing this and after the interview, I really saw the Matrimandir in a different way, and I understood more of her perspective of how she sees this building. But just to say how this series is made, actually, so first of all, I do a conversation. It's not even an interview. I audio record a conversation with the participants, just speaking about memories of the Matrimandir and how they relate. And I find this gives like a memoir feeling, and it's less in the face as having like a camera interview. And then on top of this, we go to the Matrimandir, like B said, and do slow motion B-roll shots, walking around and enjoying the Matrimandir as that participant likes to do themselves. So I really try not to impose anything. I really try to keep it as natural as possible and just to understand the viewpoint of that person who's sharing their perspective. So with this one, I really got to understand Suhasini's perspective. She shares some stories of her and the Matrimandir and took us to different places in the gardens that she also had stories for. So that's a little bit about this one. I hope you
Thank you,
enjoy.
Serena. That's wonderful. Okay, so with that, we're going to start the video. And
very impressed that a bunch of non-technically assisted people can take such base material and bring it to a level of artisanship that was never meant with these things. But at the same time, there's a part of me that does not actually relate to the non-timelessness of the material used. I first heard about the Matrimandir, I think, in 1974 or 75. At the school I was studying, there was a bunch of kids who had come back from Pondicherry. And one of them told me, hey, you want to study architecture, right? And planning and all kind of things that you've been telling us? You need to go to this place where they're building one building, which is going to be an entire city. The whole city is going to be contained in one building. And this girl, who must have been like me, 13, 14, whatever it was, told me all about how there's this big building, huge building in the middle of nowhere, inside which 50,000 people are going to live. That's when I first heard about it. The next time was when I came here in 1984 as a student of architecture, and I saw this thing under construction. I was interning with Popu. So he made us go and work in the Matrimandir workshop, cleaning the clamps and the bolts and angles. I had a little bit of difficulty, not with the work, but with wrapping my mind around the idea of this temple in the middle of nowhere. I could see how the people in the local villages lived. Compared to today, 35 years ago, they lived in abject poverty. They were underfed. They didn't have actually decent clothing. Children didn't go to schools. And I would look at the structures they lived in, the kind of lifestyle they had. And I looked at Matrimandir, which in its scale and how it's envisioned is almost like money is no object, skill is no object. Just because mother wanted it and we have the faith that she wants what she wants is great and it's going to be good. And because it's great and good, it's what humanity wants. How can we not first do water supply, education, health in the area around before we say that now we want to put a monument to the spiritual intent of the project? I do understand why these grand gestures are very important to establish milestones in a culture. But most of them have this kind of very timeless use of material and logic and climate and this and that. Every time I walk through the Matrimandir gardens and I look at the gardens, very pretty, but not timeless. The amphitheater always impressed me. It has something very timeless. I don't know how, maybe it's the magic or grace or maybe inspiration, I don't know what. But the amphitheater has all the three things going for it: the scale, the proportion, and the setting. It is magnificent. And in fact, whenever I walk in through the west entrance where you're supposed to actually come in when the whole thing is finished and you'd be having the Matrimandir with the sun rising behind the Matrimandir in the east, the three main features, which is the banyan, the amphitheater, and the Matrimandir, and you look at it in terms of proportion between the amphitheater, the Matrimandir, and the banyan, there is something to the whole proportion of it in terms of scale. And that's when you get an inkling of the scale of the project that is supposed to come around it. And Auroville is definitely set around the core value of what the spiritual intent is. And the Matrimandir represents that. If I would simplify what this whole experiment about is change of human nature. We could change human nature the way Sri Aurobindo lays it out. It would bring about three things. It would make the society a non-transactional society. Second part is actually a collaborative society. Once you're a collaborative society, you do not need to have laws, regulations, police, prison, punishment. And then the third thing that would come out as an output, almost like gravity, would be diversity can exist without a hierarchy. The spiritual content of Auroville is going to bring about this. This is what the dream is about. Because just by trying it, we're doing it. And I think that's all that matters, finally. Did you even try it? And I want to say yes.
Okay, that's so beautiful and so different. Serena, do you have anything else that you want to add to after seeing this and comparing and contrasting this episode to B's episode?
Yeah, so an interesting fact is I ask exactly the same questions to everybody. So you wouldn't guess the complete different output that comes from how different people relate to this one place. And I think this is the magic I do really try to capture. Obviously, we go into more details and I lead on with things that they come, but there's staple questions that I ask every single person. And yeah, for me, it's a different brain, it's a different perspective, and I love it. I love hearing all these different stories. So yeah, I want to know how you all feel, but I don't think we can do that yet.
Well,
Maybe one more clip and then.
Yeah.
You want to say something about it?
How did it? Yeah.
Well, because I know Suhasini, I remember when she first came and climbed up in her sari up the scaffolding, like a naive schoolgirl. And now she has changed. And her perspectives are fantastic. I certainly agree with what she's saying. No question about that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm sure everyone is appreciating these little flashbacks into, everyone's past. I mean, Suhasini and Asari climbing up is it's a beautiful image. Okay. Let's screen. So the next video, the next episode is going to be an episode of Divya, who is a second generation Aurovillian who grew up in Auroville. And Serena, do you want to do a short introduction about this episode?
Yeah, so the reason we're showing you this one today is to get, again, another perspective. So Divya was born here and she shares how it was to grow up with this beautiful building growing up next to her as well. So I hope you all enjoy.
Okay. Thank you, Serena.
centering myself, making silence in my mind, inner chamber. Amphitheater, bonfires, that feeling of family and love and sharing and caring. I mean, it's always been an integral part of my life because it's always been there. But yeah, I've always loved the place. Being born in Auroville and growing up here, I have known about it my entire life. My best friend used to live literally just around the corner from Matrimandir, so we used to regularly hang out there ourselves. That was like our play corner. So we would take the toys and we would go and chill under the banyan tree, and we would play just like under the banyan tree. By the viewing point, there are these big boulder type granite pieces, those black stones. So we used to play the lava game, like the ground is lava and you have to jump from one stone to the next because otherwise you're gonna fizzle and die. And the amphitheater for all the bonfires, we would just run around like crazy as kids. My memories of as a child was definitely not a golden globe yet, because the goldenness happened gradually and it took quite a few years. So I remember it as being a big gray structure. I try to be as present, like really present in every single second when I'm there, when I'm entering it, so that those steps that you like walk towards the door, I always feel like I'm entering a spaceship. And then walking up the steps into that first chamber, which is all pink, where I somehow feel like I'm in a uterus of a sorts, like, you know, like I'm very cocooned and it already starts being really, really silent and you're like, silence, you know, and like you're walking to wherever you want to go and sit, and even your shorts rubbing against each other make a crazy amount of noise. I'm trying to be as silent as possible. So I'm like kind of tiptoeing over to my place. And then at some point it's like more about just starting to go inwards. And then emptiness, and thoughts always come up. Don't force thoughts to leave, but don't try to block them either, because blocking is not going to help. And so just acknowledge thoughts that are coming into your head and just be like, this is maybe not the moment. Shh. What does it represent to me? Definitely a place of collection, definitely a place where I can center. It really helps because of the fact that you don't hear anything. And even if my eyes are open, because I really love just looking at the ball itself in the middle and with the reflection of the clouds that are passing on the top and stuff, like I just love to see that picture. So some people are like, you know, you'll meditate better if your eyes are closed. And it's like, just let me meditate my own way. And so because even if my eyes are distracted by that, they're not actually thinking about the clouds, you know, it's like the rest is just going like, phew. And you actually get that moment of emptiness. All those moments in the inner chamber are obviously always a learning moment. I think that the inner chamber for me has really taught me how to work on that mental silence, on like just trying to empty the brain, just like not be constantly overwhelmed by thoughts and noises and whatnot. Because for me it's also like the minute I hear a bird chirp or a dog bark or something, my brain is immediately going to be pulled to that of like, what's happening? Why is the dog barking? So my favorite place to be in the Matrimandir is actually underneath the Matrimandir. The sound of that trickling water, I really like the sound of trickling water, which you can also get in that first chamber when you come, you know. But underneath, it's even better because there's the visual also of the water sliding off those white marble pieces. And then sometimes you actually get a ray of light that comes all the way to that crystal ball that's there. That for me is like really awesome. Every time I go there, I do a whole tour. I don't just like walk into the Matrimandir and into the inner chamber and walk straight back out. Like I go straight to the inner chamber, but then on my way out, I'll kind of like let it decant before going back to the real life. It's kind of like actually I leave the place when I feel rested. It's as if like the fact that there is sensorial deprivation kind of allows all my senses to kind of go like, ah. When I come out, I always am a lot more aware of like the wind. As an adult, I prefer the gardens now, like walking through and looking at all the flowers. And so whenever they have these, they're developing like a new petal or a new small garden part, I'm always like, yay, let's go check it out. And so I'm always really thrilled with all these new developments. For me as a child, there was a lot of play involved. This place can be appreciated actually by all generations and for all purposes. I have these memories as a child where it was actually a really awesome place to hang out as a child. For me, the bonfires and the amphitheater was also very much of a family moment, like the bigger family of Auroville, kind of, which is naturally and organically, and just because Auroville needs to grow, kind of getting lost over the years because the family is getting bigger and bigger and you don't know everyone anymore. But like my childhood memories is I literally knew everybody in the amphitheater. And then the bonfire starting, which for me as a kid was always fantastic. And as an adult, I cannot say it's any different than fantastic. So I really love the bonfire. And then at some point, somebody's gonna get up and they're gonna go up closer to the fire. And then more and more people are gonna go, and then at one moment everyone just goes, and then everybody's hugging everybody and kissing and saying hi and you know, wishing each other happy birthday because it's Auroville's birthday, and which I always found so weird, especially as a child, of like saying happy birthday, because you normally only hear it on your birthday, but then it's our birthday, you know, like the big family birthday. It's always been a part and will always be a part of Auroville for me. The fact that for the mother, the Matrimandir was such an important place for Auroville, that it's a soul of Auroville, as she called it. I mean, there are many things that she understood that we are far from grasping. Now, what it's actually become, like what the tourists call the Golden Globe, this 30-meter tall building that's shiny from 500 kilometers away, while we all live in our little huts in the middle of a forest, is a bit of like there's a bit of a, I wouldn't say a discrepancy, but like there's really a rift between what Aurovillians live in, how they live, and what the Matrimandir looks like. So the importance it has for Auroville for me is quite crucial. The fact that it's become such a tourist spot is a bit of a disappointment for me. Like I do believe that it's a place that should be more for Aurovillians and the people that, you know, Aurovillians, newcomers, volunteers, whatever, just the people that dedicate their lives to Auroville. My dream for the entire peace area, not only the Matrimandir, because the Matrimandir is the soul of Auroville, but then the peace area is also including all the gardens. So my dream for the entire peace area is to be restricted to, like I said, Aurovillians and newcomers and volunteers and, you know, the people that are actually dedicating more than 3 hours to Auroville. So basically, just make it, kind of sanctify it a bit, make it a bit more, I mean, even the mother says it. She even says that it's supposed to be mainly for the people that are dedicating their life to Auroville. So that is what I would like it to come back to.
Beautiful. What happened? Okay, is everyone seeing me? My screen is a little funny right now. Okay. Um, so that was beautiful and another different perspective. And I have to say, the first thing I was imagining was having B watching all the kids run around and how they must have been interfering with the construction and, whether they were or weren't. So I
No,
would
no,
like,
that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
you didn't have to
It's,
pull them off the scaffolding.
oh, no, no. They were all down. Yeah.
Okay. How about the pool, the water?
No, they're
No kids?
not at that time.
Okay. Okay. Um, so Serena, do you have anything else to share with us after watching it and seeing it in this beautiful sequence where we're learning about the construction of the Matrimandir, and then we're seeing a little bit of the Matrimandir in the context of the social setup of the Auroville and the bioregion, and now we're seeing the inner chamber. I mean, such an amazing sequencing of the clips that you created for the program, for this program. So, do you want to, any impressions now, just seeing it from a distance, not having
Yeah,
been
so
editing
actually,
and yeah.
really, I see my films and then sometimes I see mistakes. It's like the first thing I see. I haven't seen Divya's one in ages. So she was like the second or third one we made in the series. So this is almost 2 years ago. And obviously B is the most recent one we just finished in the last few weeks. So I personally see how we've improved with the series. I think they're a bit more concise. There's music in the background. I feel technically it feels more wholesome. But content-wise, it's like so many different viewpoints, like B is talking about welcome the guests, he's a guide there, bringing everybody, and Divya is like keep it for the Aurovillians. It's very interesting. And then again, I'm really surprised that just by these few questions I ask everybody, the different directions each episode goes to. I love that. And I love these different perspectives. There's no right and wrong, and I just love hearing them, and I feel that we should find a way to bring all of these perspectives together.
Beautifully said. Yeah. B, anything? Do you want to add to this?
No, just that she said she just made it, but we filmed it long ago.
Yeah.
But I think you just did the editing recently.
Yeah, the editing we just
Yeah.
finished like in the last the weeks. The sound mix I think was just done a couple of weeks ago. But
Okay.
yeah, the film shoot itself, the Matrimandir gardens do look a bit different now. We haven't filmed I think it's been over a year since we filmed there. So we're seeking permission now. Actually, I just got a message now that hopefully we have permission to continue this series in the Matrimandir Gardens, because the dream is to try and capture everybody. No, don't stop. We just do it for as long as we can every month, try and get as many perspectives as possible. So that's the dream, and we're trying to go towards that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get permission to continue.
Yeah.
As long as you guys still like it as well. Like this is the other thing I was curious about, because honestly, it's not getting so many views on YouTube and I haven't had so much feedback. So I wanted to know how people, can relate to it, if it's interesting enough. Do we continue? This is the questions I also want to put out there to you all as well.
Yeah, so I would love to hear from the audience, from everyone who's watching this. We have over 50 people watching. So what are the reactions and what does this mean to you? Seeing the Matrimandir from the intimate perspective of one person. And do I mean, I think this series should continue over the years, but I would love to hear from you guys. And if you go down to the bottom of the screen, there is a reactions button, and Marilyn knows how to use it, and just raise your hand. And we'll know that you want to ask a question or put it in the chat. But I'm going to let Marilyn ask her question right now. So Marilyn, go ahead.
Hi, hello. It's not so much a question, but a comment. I was privileged to visit the Matrimandir in 2014 as a guest. I stayed for 2 weeks as a part of a yoga retreat with Matthew Andrews. I don't know if maybe some of you know him. And I have to tell you, it was life-changing. So I'm happy that you allow guests, and maybe you were my tour guide, B. I don't know, I don't remember, but it was, I can't even find words to express that experience. The energy there is very deep, deep to the core of the heart, to the soul. And we did the tour, and then I had to go back. The 3 of us signed up to, and we were able to go twice in our 2-week visit there. Spectacular. And I loved what you did, Serena, in showing and the touring. I brought back those feelings, and it's been a long time. It's been 9 years. And it brought back those deep feelings of my visit there. And now I'm feeling inspired to come again. Yeah, it's a treat. It's a reconnection with your soul, and what a gift. So thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. That was beautiful. I see another hand up from a recent visitor to Auroville. That's our Karun Das. Okay. Unless Serena, do you want to add something to this, or no? Okay. Okay, Karun Das, you're on.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's always so great to come and to visit Auroville and to visit Matrimandir, even though I haven't been able to come in person very often over the years. But, you know, I was so inspired just by Mother's vision back when it was just a hole in the ground. You know, that it's really lived in me and my heart. You know, I've supported it just how little I can. And also, as B referenced, you know, when I did come the first time in '98, I wanted to see Auroville, I wanted to see the Samadhi, that's and I did. And I arranged, people arranged for me to be able to go in and just do a little bit of work, just to put my energy into applying grout between the tiles inside the lower level of Matrimandir. And somehow that was just so fulfilling for me, and so important to know that I had been able to have a physical connection to this amazing soul, which I consider to be Mother's body on Earth at this time. You know, the pillars were joined the same moment that she left her human body. And so to me, there's that intimate connection with her and with Matrimandir, and hearing people's perspectives and visions for the future, and also just the lived experience of growing up with Matrimandir being built, was just so profoundly moving for me. So I just want to really thank you, Serena, for bringing these things to life. It's very moving for me, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karun Das. That was beautiful. And yes, I think we all agree that Serena does an amazing job bringing this to us, and you know, reigniting our memories of having been in the presence of the Matrimandir. Serena, should we move on to the next question, or yeah? Okay, Veronica. Okay, can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm really full of gratitude for this moment we really having together. Sound is good?
Very good.
Okay. And yes, please, Serena, continue this work. It's really, let's remember that it's only 50 years. This is pioneers. You are pioneers, we are pioneers. Our experience is new experience. So it needs to be somehow archived for the future generation to see the real first experience. And for you be that we met in the Himalayas in Sourcing of Oneness workshop, you know. And so it's all about really transmitting this new transformation that we are all living, you know. So it's really very moving. Thank you so much. And it's really the truth that we all feel, and just all the experience we all do have in the Matrimandir. I feel personally that it is the only place on earth that is really the true spiritual, pure, fresh place on earth, you know. This is what I feel. Thank you. So yes, please.
Thank you, Veronique. It's yeah, I think I would love to hear a couple more impressions of the Matrimandir and how you're perceiving this series. Like, what does it do to really see all these viewpoints, you know, the difference in perspectives on what the Matrimandir does, because maybe it's more so for those who are newer to Auroville, where we come in and we see the Matrimandir as a beautiful golden structure, and then we understand that there's so much complexity to it. So I'm wondering if anyone is, you know, has anything to say about that. Jack, Mary.
Mary, I'm technically challenged and we're on a phone, so it's really not mine. I hope you continue, Serena, making these things, because what I loved about today's things was the variety of perspectives and just and resonating with the truth of all of them, because I was there very early in the early 70s and watched a little kid, little kids playing in the sand at the base of Matrimandir while people were building. They knew enough not to climb up, but it was a giant sand thing for them. And yet they had a connection with what was going on. That, you could have put sand somewhere else. It wouldn't have had the draw, because they were there with it, with what's going in and feeling it. Watching my grandchildren jump rocks today, that sort of thing. Having, just one hand in physically building it, even though my whole job was supporting the people who were working on it. My family visited, and my brother, who was a teenager when he came, remembers doing something to contribute to building Matrimandir. And, it's resonated with him for his whole life. Can't say it was transformative, but he's very proud of having, carried some chetty pans with stuff in them. It affects everything. And I was moved to tears by the description of Suhasini that, it was very poor all around. And why were we building this thing with gold on it? And yet somehow it's transformed the whole region. And not that there isn't poverty, but not to the same extent. And children go to school, and when COVID hit, there was a whole network to make sure that people were fed and cared for. And it's just it starts from inside and it moves out. But that core inside is what Auroville is about. So please continue, Serena, in getting all these wonderful, deep perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was wonderful. Like a really beautiful testimony to the history and the effect of the Matrimandir. And I want to say something that B told me. What?
No, I just wanted to say, because Mary said she just supported us. No, she fed us. She ran. That was real support. And
it's true. Sometimes I had to go fight with Sham Sunder to say, no, you cannot cut this food thing. These guys are building the Matrimandir. They need to have adequate food.
Right, exactly. And then there's Jack sitting there who brought all the tools that we needed to start the Matrimandir. We're still using his, his drill press there after 50 years. So, I mean, there are these people, and they're the people. And we can't forget about any of them. There's so many of them. But that particular couple and their son is here today, and family. So, I mean, these are, this is a wealth and an abundance that we all have as part of this community.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. That was very sweet.
Take the ill out of Bill, because now I'm B.
That's right. I'm sorry. Thank you, B. I should know that by now.
So we have a couple more questions, and I just wanted to add like one detail that I was always fixated on about the gold in the Matrimandir. And B informed me that all the gold was by donation, where everyone took off their earrings and their rings and other gold items that they might have had from their family, and that is how the gold part of the Matrimandir happened, just by personal donations of actual personal items. So I just want to call on Francis now, who's been having their hand up for several minutes. So Francis.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very well. Yeah.
We are two. There's Bernard and I. So it's not a question for myself. It's just that I've been brought to India from Bernard, and then I was doing some volunteering with Serena. And each time I was going to the studio to work, I would see every piece of a part of the history of Matrimandir, because I was listening to every person, maybe not the 17 of them, but maybe 10, I guess. And then every time it was like, for me, amazing to see, as Serena was telling us, that every person has a different point of view about the Matrimandir, what they have done, their past life. And it was like amazing for me. Like, I'm new to Auroville, and it was amazing to me to see all those stories. And I would like to say thanks a lot to Serena for that, giving me the opportunity to see all this. And then I'll let Bernard to speak now.
So we came, hello, it's very interesting. I'm so privileged to be with you, Serena, and all of you. I want to say something, because Serena asked, should we continue? I want to remind that the purpose that's said by B, that was to, this Matrimandir was to put people together, all the Aurovillian together. And me, I'm from Canada, I'm French Canadian, and Francis is French Canadian, as you can hear. And he came here to do some editing. He was doing some editing with Serena. So learning editing when Serena, and she was a brilliant teacher. So what I want to say is it's not important, it's very important for the togetherness. I think this world, it's now needed to see things that are working with, Mother brilliant, in a brilliant way, create this Matrimandir saying it will give a reason for Auroville to be together. And this world needs a vision to be together in something, and an experience like the Matrimandir could be so fantastic to look at Francis's first time is coming just for learning how to edit with Serena, and is amazed about this Matrimandir. So it's very important what it's not only for just us Aurovillian, it's also very important for the world in this time. And I hope also for Aurovillian to watch this, to see, well, our little dispute, our little disagreement, it's nothing. Look what we did. And it's a golden bulb. It's a golden proof of what one group can do together. And a series, and not only see it in Auroville, we should spread it in the world. I will help you with the Human Permaculture International to show your shooting and all this example. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Francis and Bernard. We have one more question, and that's going to be our last question. So this is Aisha. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So you can unmute yourself.
Hello. Yeah, people know me as Nandini.
Oh.
And yeah, I was fortunate enough to live in Auroville for almost 12 years. And I'm still coming to Auroville. But I had the opportunity to go almost every morning, 6 o'clock would be walking to Matrimandir. Almost every working day we would walk at 6 o'clock and we would meditate at Matrimandir. And for me, it's one of the places when one can really sense the peace. And it is so wonderful, that I could have experienced it. And I'm also so happy that other people, the visitors, and I hope that they can sense this also. And also what Francis says, especially this time, in this world, it's how it's going. It's so important that people sense this peace. And yes, and of course there are so many opinions, and that's also important. But I am happy that I could sense it there. And yes, please, Serena, you continue with your series. It's important that it spread.
Thank you, Nandini. Thank you so much. So I do want to say to everyone that if you want to watch more about Serena's work, if you want to see all of Serena's work, she's on YouTube. She has an amazing YouTube channel with many of her creations, and the Matrimandir and I series you can find under playlists. There is a dedicated playlist to all the Matrimandir and I episodes where you can see all the ones that have been published so far. Hold on. Okay. Then Serena, would you like to respond to this small outpouring of appreciation for your beautiful work?
I would just like to say thank you so much. I'm really overwhelmed. I was not expecting all these beautiful words and feedback. So thank you all. I just want to say, as a filmmaker, actually the easy part is making the films. The hardest thing is getting people to watch them. So the way you can all help is maybe sharing them, liking them, telling people about them. Because this has been a labor of love. We're all doing this for free, actually, for this series, and it comes from the heart purely, and I think that is actually what the Matrimandir symbolizes as well. Everyone works from the heart for this place, But yeah, it's a little bit disheartening not seeing the views and not seeing people watching it. So if you all really are enjoying it so much, please spread the word. That is like the best thing you can do for us, and that will keep us motivated to keep going, because in my heart, I want to keep going. I don't want to stop, that's for sure. So thank you all for your lovely words. I feel boosted enough to keep going for a bit longer, that's for sure.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. And I do want to encourage everyone, if possible, if you can make a small contribution to the Auroville Live, and you can either designate Serena or Matrimandir and I in the notes. All the donations that are coming in during this week are going to be sent to Serena directly, to to her whole team, to continue this project. And I also wanted to mention that AVI Germany has actually has supported this particular program that we had. And thank you, AVI Germany. They are sending some financial support to the project. Thank you, Isa and Georg, for getting in touch and helping us with this. So yeah, so if any donation is helpful, and even small amounts that are a small recurring donation, or any amount that is possible to really help this program to move forward. And ultimately we're helping people see and experience and have this inner experience of Auroville's spirit, and lighting that flame of continuing human unity through through this series. I mean, this is what's happening now. So the more we are in contact with this, the more we can help Auroville grow. So please try to support this project. So what else should we say? We're grateful to be. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we've said it all in 3 videos, and then there are, I guess, going to be at least 15 or 20 more. So because with all this support coming in, and people appreciating the work of Serena and the whole project of having this Matrimandir as an energy that will bring our world to the human unity and the ideals, that because now things are really fractionalizing and getting even worse. So we actually need Matrimandir more than ever now. And it's there, thanks to all of you.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yes, it is. And anyway, so Serena, you have, how many more episodes do you have in editing stages?
So actually it's on the board just behind.
The light is, yeah.
So we have three more in the edit. And we have, I think, 3 more that is already scheduled in YouTube. So I think there's 6 more to be released in total. And we're hoping, hopefully, if all goes well, permission-wise, that we'll start filming again in a month's time. So what we normally do is we film quite a few in a block, and then slowly edit throughout the months. So this is the plan, and we'll try and keep going with the diversity. This is the idea, to get as many different types of people. So also, if you look on the series, I think there's already 15 or so videos online that you can watch. And again, they're completely different perspectives, different people, but I do have to, it's very obvious for me, but I do have to say that these are all different people's perspectives, and it's not Auroville's perspective. It's something that I've been asked to share, is that each one is an individual perspective. It's not my perspective. It doesn't show the whole of Auroville's perspective. It's all unique in each individual.
But there is no Auroville perspective.
Exactly.
Because Auroville is the people.
Exactly. But okay, yeah. My dream is just to try and unify us all. And that's why I go to the Matrimandir. The Matrimandir is my favorite place on earth. This is why I'm here in Auroville. And I always wanted to do something with the Matrimandir. And to me, this series represents all of that. So thank you all so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. All these kind words, having you here today. And yeah, we will continue to our best ability as long as we can.
Okay. Thank you, Serena. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming. You know, we've really had a wonderful audience, and thanks for all the thoughts and the questions. Thank you everyone from Unity Pavilion. And hopefully we'll be able to do something like this again in a few months with Serena if she's available. And if not, you know, we'll definitely keep working on other programs that can bring this kind of energy and upliftment to everyone. So
can I make one more point?
Yeah.
I think you're making it, yes.
So Serena, I spoke recently with Jean Pougot, who single-handedly has made the most wonderful gadgets throughout Matrimandir and the amphitheater. And from a technical mechanics point of view that would speak to me and many others, he is a brilliant engineer and mechanic who, like he made those wonderful doors of the Matrimandir that slide out of place. And I would just like to suggest this as a possible future film that would also cross some boundaries. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, perfect. If anybody has any other suggestions, please could you write email or contact detail of that person, and I will contact them and see if they're willing to also share. So yeah, please do share. Thank you very much.
Okay, wonderful. We'll include Serena's contact in the follow-up email. So we're going to send everyone a link to the presentation, the links to Serena's work and how to easily view all the episodes. We're going to again send the donate link for support, and please be in touch with Serena and with us if you want to contribute in any way, or if you have suggestions for Serena for her episodes, for featured individuals in the episodes. Okay, so unless there's anything else, I think we'll end the session today.
Thank you, Yana.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone. It was so beautiful to see everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.